first of all, Brandy, I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today about your experience with Healthful Data. Would love to just sort of get to know you a little bit. If you could introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, it helps others sort of connect with your experience.
Okay, my name is Brandy Unruh. I'm 44. I live in Montana in a really rural area. Our nearest hospitals that are any good are 25 miles either way. I'm actually a caretaker. I work for two different companies, and so I'm a CNA and a direct support professional. I've got a daughter that's 21 years old and married. Unfortunately, my mom passed away. She was helping me take care of my daughter who has special needs. That's kind of what prompted me to want to get into nursing.
So you participated with our service in October. Could
Yeah.
you describe where you were health-wise at around that time?
And so, like, my cousin's mom has osteoarthritis, and my mom did too. And so, some of my bones have been breaking for like no reason. They're
Oh,
just
wow.
breaking. And so, I just remembered that the preliminary questions, I saw some and I was ticking them off in my mind and thinking, wow, I'm saying yes to a lot of these. And that's kind of concerning. So then I opened it, and so I started taking it, and I was like, wow, I immediately wanted to like forward it to my friends and my family because I was thinking of a lot of people. It's like it was really informative and interesting, saying like, have you taken this kind of medication or steroids? Or I kind of already figured I must have osteo like my mom did because my bones should not be breaking. Just doing average whatever day-to-day things. And so I was thinking about my cousin's mom. She ended up in the hospital, and she's actually like hasn't been able to work for a year, all from osteo. It's definitely a problem in, I don't know if it's our community or our family or what, but that's what caught my attention. And then then I did the whole survey, and I was just thinking about everything, that I've been through, and it was a lot. And then I got the report back. So yeah, it was definitely something that I want to share with my friends and family, and I haven't been able to yet, but I hope that they will take it and find it as helpful and interesting as I did. So I thought that was really neat. And it's not something that I have come across in any of my, like, any of the conversations or anything that I've done with my doctors. None of those questions had been posed, and like nobody's done that. So that's really interesting. So yeah, I think it's neat that it's free right now. They should probably take advantage of that while they can. Cuz yeah, I think I would pay for that, cuz like I said, it's not a service that's being offered through any of my healthcare providers. You would think that something like that would have, been offered, but it hasn't. So that's really great.
Yeah, and thank you so much. So it sounds like your first engagement with us was with our bone health
Yeah,
assessment.
yeah. Some of those questions and answers, and was like, wow, that's really, hits the nail on the head in our life of what we're going through with my family. So that made me, really want to find out what was going on, and then open the rest of it. Yeah.
And with bone health in particular, you mentioned that you're 44. So
Yeah.
from a risk perspective, they actually don't suggest that you get tested until you're 65,
Right.
which, you can have risk factors that drive you more towards needing a bone density scan much earlier than that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. Is that's not really something that we talk about. My mom was young; she was in her 50s, and so is my cousin's mom when they started having the problems that they're having. And both of them, let's see, broke their. My mom broke her foot and wasn't able to walk, and she oddly enough is like living in the same housing unit that my mom was living in, and both of them had to have like wheelchairs. And my cousin's mom broke her leg, her femur, which, taking nursing, I happen to know that that is like the hardest bone in your body to break, and the pressure that it should take to break that bone is insane. So for her to just be walking and fall and break that bone is like, I was like really immediately concerned. And then to, to be so young and you're working, and all of a sudden you're in a wheelchair, and you can't get in and out of your bathtub or your home. She had to have a ramp put in, and here it's winter now, so the risk of falling again is even higher. And just all of these factors, and then you need healthcare. You need people coming into your house, and we don't have that necessarily. We're pretty short staffed, and so you might not, and she hasn't been able to find a caretaker. I'm like personally booked up myself. Most people that I know are. So yeah, it really affects your life, and it's not something that you're really thinking about when you're 44, or 40 to 50 years old. You're not thinking that these things are going to happen. So it's definitely something that I think that healthcare providers should be talking about. And so I'm really glad that you're providing this service, and I hope that more people see it and that a lot of people take it, because it's interesting.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that's exactly the goal. It's an awareness question, really. You know,
Yeah.
we're going about our day to day, and we're trying to manage through work, with
Yeah.
school, with family, taking care of loved ones, taking care of others.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to remember to take care of yourself.
e-
And that's sort of
Exactly.
so first of all, I'm very glad that you found the service. I'm very glad that you are potentially going to take some action as a result of some of the things that you learned.
Yeah.
Particularly with bone health, I mean, if you have enough risk factors, things like family members who've broken bones with low intensity sort of trauma, so to speak. If you've taken glucocorticosteroids for longer than a few months, right? These are all things that add up. Yeah, so the opportunity to get tested, get the bone density scan is there for you. And that's exactly the type of outcome we would want. Of course, if you check enough of the risk factors off.
I have a generalized report right now, which is exactly what my my primary care and my neurologist are saying, that I need to get into the neurologist, figure out the pain that I'm having. I suffer from neuropathy, but this did prompt me to call the bone and joint clinic in Missoula, and they told me, based on what I told them, to come in at any time and walk in the door. I don't need a referral. I can just go straight there. And they'll look at my bone density and my hand, because I've been running around with broken fingers for years now. And my primary care doctors have all kind of like dismissed me and said, those bones are too small. We can't help you. There's nothing we can do. But like, I'm re-breaking my fingers, and it's very painful. And I don't know. It's difficult to say if the reason they're dismissing me is because they think that maybe I'm, like, pill seeking, or I live on a reservation. There's an opiate crisis and everywhere, but the doctors are like, if they, even think that you're, something's pain related, they tend to dismiss you almost immediately. So, and that's not the case at all. I'm just walking around with broken fingers, and it hurts, and I want to set my bones. So I called the bone and joint clinic, and they're willing to see me. So at least, yeah, the taking this test actually got me to, think about it, and decide that I probably should be doing more advocating for myself, since my doctors have, all like not taking it seriously, and I feel like it is something to take seriously, and I want the help. So yeah, so now I can go in, and I plan to do that as soon as I can, when it's better timing. Right now it's a difficult time with Christmas and the New Year and everything, but I will go in. So thank you.
Oh no, well, that's the goal, and that's the hope, right? That's the hope that,
Yeah.
folks get greater awareness of what's going on with their own
Yeah.
bodies. There's a bit of an urgency element, hopefully, to what you've seen in the report that you have received, which is to say that, if we've assessed something as very poor or, below average or anything like that, then there's an opportunity to sort of just take a moment and say, hey, I'm spending all this time, in your case, taking care of other people.
Right.
Are there opportunities for me to talk to my doctor about these things,
Yeah.
and maybe just by having something to refer to, right? That we hope it's objective, right? Because it's comparing, sort of your assessment against everyone else, so to speak,
Right.
that it provides something concrete that a doctor can't ignore, right?
You're right. Right. Yeah. I know for a fact that women, and I don't know if it's just women, but here where I'm at, several of my friends, okay, so when this happened, unfortunately, I went in to the emergency care here, like literally 3 miles away, and the doctor said, "You're drunk, go home and die." That's literally what he said to me, the emergency doctor. And he wrote it on a piece of paper. So, like, I have my tribal lawyers are actually going after this doctor for, what do you call it, malpractice. Because when I, 3 days later, when I ended up in the ambulance going 75 miles to the next hospital, and my husband was so angry and told them she went into emergency, and because I was slurring and my vocal cords were paralyzed, and so was my face and my diaphragm, and I could barely talk, and I was seeing double, which is what happens with the with that Jean and several other diseases that cause paralysis. For some reason, you see double. They just assumed that I was drinking or possibly overdosing on drugs, and I wasn't. I don't drink, I haven't in 20 years, and I don't use drugs. But even if I was, I mean, if that was the absolute case, for them to tell me to go home and die is just wow. So that I was talking about this on Facebook about, how blown away I was, and my doctors called that doctor and were furious with him and told him that, that was just completely out of line, and they couldn't believe that that had happened to me, and they were mad and said that I wouldn't have gone through so much of what I went through if he had actually admitted me and done his job. And during that week, three of my friends were also went into that ER, and same doctor. Were one friend had stomach cancer and ended up, and she needed emergency surgery, and one had like some cysts burst. Ended up needing a full hysterectomy, and they ended up having to go to Missoula, the opposite direction, because the doctor here basically was like, "Oh, you just have cramp," or "Oh, you just ate something, bad or whatever," and dismiss them. So I don't know if it's just women that are being dismissed, and, and your pain and ailments or whatever are not being taken seriously, or if it's across the board. I don't know if it's because we're on a reservation and they think that people are pill seeking. I don't know what it is. All I know is that it's not right, and it's scary. I mean, it could be a life and death situation, like ours
Absolutely.
were, and you have to advocate for yourself. You have to take your own healthcare into your hands, and go wherever you have to go, where they're willing to listen to you. And like you said, if you have something like that report in your hand, and there's something in writing, and to walk in the door with and say, I think I need to take a look at this, or then I think you're right. I think that it will be treated more seriously, and they're not going to just look at you like, a pill seeking addict or an over dramatic, I don't know, bored housewife. I don't know. I mean, I just, it blows my mind. I just cannot believe that where we're at. But yeah, you have to do that for yourself. So my doctor, my primary care also told me that I should go in and get a mammogram, and go and get, like, I haven't been into like a female doctor in years. I'm married, and sometimes, you just, like you said, you're taking care of everybody else, and you stop taking care of yourself. You don't have time. You put yourself on the bottom of the priority list, and I definitely did, and I really wasn't even aware of the amount of stress that I was under. Never in my wildest dreams thought that I would wake up, like my body just basically shut down and just, can't do this no more. And I wasn't able to, I was forced to take care of myself for the next year. And it was probably a good thing. I mean, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but it definitely really helped me in a lot of different aspects of my life. So now I'm taking my health more serious, really about taking the time to, take your own health seriously before it becomes a crisis. And
Perfect, and that makes complete sense. I mean, that's what happens, right? I mean, when I
yeah,
was living with my illness, you just
yeah,
kind of live with it, and you presume that that is normal, and you
right,
go through the motions, and oh, the pain that I'm feeling, that everyone feels pain. I'm just getting older.
right,
Some of the things that we've found through our platform, for example, we all say we might need more energy, And we
Yeah.
might say if we don't have enough energy, oh, I'm just getting older. What
Yeah.
we found, interestingly enough, is that energy levels are very not correlated with age at all,
Really?
which is fascinating because it does tell us that if you are struggling with energy, have a difficult time staying
Yeah.
awake late at night, or are not able to do all the things that you want to do in life,
Yeah.
there might actually be something else going on.
Right.
And so hopefully what comes through in the reports that we provide is that opportunity to say, well, what might be going on?
I was just gonna say one of the things, another thing that came up because of everything was what, like you said, my I was struggling with low energy. So is my husband. He's got an autoimmune with rheumatology. My daughter has a really rare syndrome, and so when I got back, I really started also not just focusing on my own health but theirs, and getting them in and doing like blood work and just finding out why is my 21-year-old daughter so tired. She had low iron, she had low vitamin D, like chronically low. They had to give her mega doses. They had to give her 50,000 units in an injection and then put her on 50,000 a day for 2 weeks. I mean, that's really, really high. So, yeah, so, just like I said, or like you said, the low energy levels might be indicative of something way more serious. And my husband and I both had low potassium, low vitamin D. So I guess like a lot of my friends lately have been diagnosed with low potassium and then the low vitamin D with COVID. They're finding out that everybody that had COVID had low vitamin D as well. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
you're
that
right.
that makes so much sense. And
Yeah.
then low vitamin D, anemia, right, certainly will cause fatigue, and that could be, the other thing that we found that is heavily correlated with energy levels is mental health and
Yeah.
getting mental health support. So could you talk to us a bit about sort of whether you've sought mental health support at any point, or have thought about your mental well-being?
Oh, definitely. Oh man, we have my whole family has a lot of mental health issues, addiction and alcoholism, depression. My aunt committed suicide along she took her sadly took her 5 kids with her. So it's really well known here. It's my aunt was really loved and it was tragic when that happened. A lot of completed suicides in my family. And actually where I live on the reservation in Montana, we had a story it was local news, like national news. There was a suicide a week for a period of 3 months before COVID happened. Young kids. So it's not. I mean, it's not just my family, but here on the reservation, it's a huge problem. So I personally have, let's see, some of my family has schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. I don't. Luckily, thank God, I just have like a little bit of anxiety. I've been through a lot of trauma. This certainly didn't help. The health thing that I went through was
Sure.
really, really traumatic. But I have addressed that. I've been telling my doctors that I had a little bit of anxiety after that happened, and so they put me on like a non-addictive anxiety medication. And I was on that for a little while after I got out of the hospital, and it helped. And now I started going to counseling. So I go to counseling.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been going to counseling once a week, and now I mean, oh, you can do that from your home, so you don't have to leave your house. My husband is a veteran, and so is my father. And there was a program that I saw on Facebook, and they were doing post traumatic stress disorder. They were teaching caretakers how to talk to the veterans in their life about getting help. And so I signed up for that, and it's actually a paid program right now. They taught me, how to get talk to them, and it did it open the doors, the communication. My dad sought counseling and was diagnosed with PTSD, and my husband had PTSD too. And so yeah, it's definitely something that I mean, just you like all you have to take care of your mental health, your physical, spiritual. Us being Native American, we definitely believe in the spiritual aspect of it too. So yeah, trying to we go to the sweat lodge and pray, go to talking circles, powwows and stuff like that. So yeah, I've been focusing more on everybody's health in my life. And the people that I care about, and the mental health is definitely a huge thing. My dad he was in Vietnam for 3 tours, so he had a lot of issues, and him going to counseling really, really helped him a lot. And he also had anxiety that he had he's 75 years old, never addressed it, and he's addressing it now. He started talking to his doctor about it. They put him on medication. He's been getting better sleep, and so yeah, it's helped us a lot talking
That's
about those
wonderful.
things. Yeah,
The
yeah,
other thing, sort of, so in your specific report, right? So we found low energy levels.
yeah,
We found that you might need neurologist support. Sounds
yeah.
like you've already were starting to talk to a neurologist. How did that come about?
Well, the when I went in, they found out. So part of the paralysis was my nerves are not, they're not firing, they're not working. My brain is sending the signal and it's not being carried out, so I couldn't, couldn't move and couldn't talk. So the neurologist was there right from the, from the minute I got in the door. They're, realizing something really serious was going on here. So they do know I have an autoimmune stress disorder. That's, the best at and they believe it's Jean-Viret, but there's some things that don't really jive with Jean-Viret either. But yeah, so I have been referred to a neurologist, and I haven't actually gone in yet. I've been, oh man, uh, we've been did so much, and right, like one of the things that was major to me immediately was getting like the ENT, just being able to breathe. So I had all these machines at home, and then the physical therapy. So I was going there 3 times a week. I was going to my ENT every week. I was going to a pain specialist every day for 6 months. I had to drive 75 miles because, like I said, on the reservation, they would not help me with my pain. Yeah, and that's pretty common on most reservations. They have had such a problem with the opiate epidemic that they've literally, like, the doctors have all, if they haven't banned them completely, they've had problems with DEA. So the doctors are having a hard time prescribing and being able to keep their license. So I had to go off the reservation. And so in order for them to not lose their license, I had to drive in every single day, and I did. And so now thankfully I can get, my medicine for a month at a time, but that really, really, really took up a huge amount of time of my day. And then I was seeing my doctors down there and my counselor. So my life has been really filled up with a lot of medical stuff, and then I'm trying to work as well. So now I'm finally getting into a better place, and in, health wise and with my time, and can finally focus on hopefully, going in and seeing the neurologist. But his door's open, the referrals there. There's a lot of different reasons why somebody might get a serious referral like that and then not go in.
That's
So yeah, I
absolutely right.
know.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. And it's a reflection, right? When we issue our reports, all we can do is sort of, provide the assessment and of course make the recommendation to go
Yeah,
see a qualified medical professional. In your case specifically, we can say go see a neurologist if you can, but that if you can piece of it becomes, there's so much else going on in the world,
the key. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and I know that it's serious, but I also, had a neurologist working with me every day for the 6 months that I was in the hospital. And then I know that I'm in pain, and we know why. And we know that there's something going on, but can't diagnose it really, and there isn't a cure. I feel like it's important, but I kind of have my answer already. What they want me to go in for is basically for the pain. They want to know, what is causing my pain, and why am I having so much nerve pain? Because they might want to put me on like different medication, because I'm only on like gabapentin right now, which kind of treats it but doesn't prevent it or stop it from progressing. I don't feel like it's progressing, but it's definitely not going away. And they were kind of hopeful that time, and it's been a year now, that time would make it better, and it's not. So yeah, I do need to go in and figure out, because it's all in my lower legs and my feet, and makes it like really hard to walk. So I have to get up and take pain medication before I can even get out of bed.
Yeah,
So,
no. And it's all connected, right? The systems are connected. If your energy levels are poor and you're in pain, then the likelihood of you going out for, a 30-minute walk or anything like that becomes more
oh,
challenging and difficult.
right, right. Yeah, definitely. And even being able to do a 30-minute walk at this point would be it's really difficult. I can't, my diaphragm is still partially paralyzed. My balance is altered forever. So a lot of the things were just all of the doctors agreed all we can do is give it time and wait and see what happens. And the physical therapy definitely helped. And it brought me to a point, thank goodness, that I could walk and talk again. And but the possibility of this happening is definitely out there. It's definitely in the realm of possibilities. So
Sure.
it's scary. So I have to stay on top of the mental health and just taking care of myself and not letting my stress levels get too high. And I can definitely tell now, like it has a serious impact on me if I'm getting stressed out or overwhelmed or I'm doing too much. And sometimes, I mean, I'll sleep for like a whole day, day and a half, and I just have to. If I don't, I get like physically ill. So like nauseated and exhausted, and all of my symptoms flare up, and I have a harder time breathing, or my balance is even worse, or my pain. And so yeah, so now, at least now I know, like what I'm looking for and what to do, and that I have to slow down or stop obsessing or stressing about things that are possibly not something that I can even control. That, because I did a lot of that before this happened, and now I really try to stay grounded in the moment, and not worry about the past or the future. Just try to stay in today, and today I'm okay, and I'm alive, and I'm here.
Yeah, that's great. And
Yeah,
the reflection too, right, is, I mean, you're spending all this time being there for others. So it
mhm,
sounds like you found a way to be there for yourself. And that's an
yeah,
important thing, right? Because we
it
can't
is. Yeah, I think
absolutely.
a lot of people do that, especially people that are naturally caregivers. And I keep telling my friends, you can't be there for other people if you're not here, if you're not here at all. And yeah, some of my friends have ended up in the hospital, and since I've been gone. So yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be focused on more. And I think that's typical in a lot of people's lives, just not being able to care for yourself.
And so, Randy, we're nearing the end of our time. So first of all, thank you so much for
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
part in our
absolutely.
service, providing your feedback. Are there specific things that you will do now as a result of engaging with us that you might not have done had you not sort of engaged with the report and seen some of those results?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I did a lot of things that, the counseling, reaching out to the bone doctor, and then I mean, all of this came into play after I took this. And I have went over to my cousins and talked to her about this, because if this happened to my cousin's mom, I'm thinking that my cousin is in the same boat I am, and probably more has more of a risk too. And talk to my husband about the fact, I'm hoping that he'll take it. He has rheumatoid arthritis, and he has taken steroids and taken those medications that were listed that I really can't pronounce. I think methocarbamol might be one of them, but
Sure.
yeah,
I
there's
do.
been a lot of things that your study helped me with, and that opened the door for some conversations. So yeah, I definitely benefited from it, and I thought it was really interesting, and I'm glad that it's available. So
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so great to
yeah,
hear.
yeah, thank
It's
you.
wonderful to hear. So thank you so much. And so our hope is that you come back and participate again in 3 or 6 months.
Cool.
And hopefully, you see changes for the better, right? So Randy, I wanted to thank you again for taking the time to share your experience. Sounds like you had a good one with our service.
Yeah,
Sounds like you want others to participate as well. And that's sort of the goal, right? As the more
yeah,
people who participate, the more we can help.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and the more we can help, the more, just having lived through it myself, right? Going
Yeah,
from a
yeah,
30% to 100% life is a game changer. And so I really
yeah. I
want that for
definitely
others.
want to read your story. I'm interested in learning more about that. So
Oh, well, I'll send you the link to the video. So
thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so Brandy, thank you so much. I wish
Yeah,
you a great rest of your day, continued health on your journey. I know it's been a long one, but sounds
yeah,
like you're in a good spot today. And thank you again. I appreciate you.
yeah. You have a good Christmas.